All right, so are games actually good for Japanese immersion? When should you, play games in Japanese, right? Am I ready? All this stuff. So basically, generally, am I going to be able to recommend games to you? And the answer is yes. Like, you can play games in Japanese, obviously. You can do whatever you want, but it's going to be a certain scenario, right? So if you go straight to the games, it's going to be really difficult. So actually, one of the reasons I wanted to learn Japanese so bad was because at the time, like around a year ago, I was playing Persona 4, right? And all the signs in the game, right? I had the Japanese voiceover on, but I was just playing like the English version of the game, obviously. But they still have the stop signs in Japanese, right? The tomare, all that stuff. All the shops, like the signs for them are all in Japanese, right? So it kind of piqued my interest a little, right? But if you go straight to games, it's gonna be pretty difficult for you, just because there's a lot of rare kanji, a lot of different words, slang, and stuff. So it really depends on your level in Japanese. I know that's super vague. So basically, the problem with games, right? It's pretty hard to do lookups, right? It's pretty hard to do lookups with this. If you look at this screenshot from Persona 4, I'm gonna be talking about Persona a lot just because it's the main game I played in Japanese, right? But if you look at this, if you were watching anime or like a YouTube video, you could easily like select the subtitle depending on the media player. Obviously, you could select the subtitle. Like if there's a word you don't know, put it in the monolingual dictionary, right? Try to figure out the meaning. Put it in the bilingual dictionary, and then know what the word means, right? But if you're playing a game like Persona, right, you can't just like copy the text, right? You can't just do that. Obviously, I think you could like screenshot it, put it into the Google image search. But like oftentimes when I do lookups, right, I don't need to know the entire meaning of the entire sentence, right? I get the gist of the sentence. There's just one word in the sentence that I might not know, right? So it can be kind of hard to do lookups with games, which are going to be super common, like all the time when you're beginning, right? And you don't want to be spending too much time on lookups, right? It's going to slow you down a lot. And then even with games like Persona 5, right, there's not a ton of audio, right? You don't want to be playing a game that doesn't have a lot of audio. So generally, like anime is just gonna top it out, right? Anime is gonna mog here just because of the 3 channel input, right? You get the visual of it, you get the subtitles, and then in addition to the subtitles, you're also hearing everything that's being said, right? So that's gonna be so much better than basically just reading, right? You're getting one channel and then maybe kind of like context from what you're seeing. I don't know, it kind of depends. But usually, like, even for Persona 5, like a very like voice acted like the game, right? Only about maybe like half of it is really audio. A lot of it is just like dialogue, and you kind of clicking through, like picking the choices, and then the on the more like important kind of story points, it's going to be voiceover. And then one of the things that's really good about Persona 4 and 5 is that you there's a feature called the log, basically, which is it's just the log. You open it up and it's got the entire conversation inside of it. You can click on each sentence to hear it play back, right? So generally, if you're like me, I made a video about this, the Dunning-Kruger effect, right, where you kind of overestimate your Japanese level at first just because you're like starting to understand stuff. If you're like me, you probably overestimate your level a little bit, especially when you start. So I remember I wanted to play Persona 5 about 4 months after I started Japanese, right? And because I could like kind of understand anime with the subtitles, I could understand it when I did intensive immersion, right? So when I had the video paused and I read the subtitle on the screen, I made sure I understood it and then I played it, right? I could understand anime that way. So I thought surely, right, I could understand Persona 5. But as soon as I started playing, I got discouraged a little bit. So when would it actually be good to play games? Generally, a lot of it is just gonna come down to how much kanji you know, right? Even past the Joyo list. So if you're playing Persona 5, right, just knowing the Joyo list, it's not gonna be enough to save you, right? There's gonna be a lot of rare kanji, a lot of kanji that aren't on the Joyo list, and even if they're not used like every day, you're still gonna see them, right? You can't avoid it. So you also gotta be confident with seeing like dialect, slang, right, and grammar structure. It's not enough to just know the words and go into something, because you also need to know the grammar patterns, like how words in a sentence relate to each other, right? So generally, if you're a beginner, just stick to anime, right? And then you can kind of have this like nice goal of like yeah, I'll be able to play the game soon, right? I'll be able to it's something to work towards, right? If you want to play your favorite game in Japanese, right? If you really like JRPGs, um, it's a really nice goal to work towards, right? So you want to kind of start to play games in the sentence mining stage, which is where you can watch anime like free flow, right? So you're not pausing to read the subtitles. You have the subtitles up, and you can read them as they go along, understand basically everything, right? That's when you want to start playing games. Around that, maybe even a little bit before. Obviously play games if you want to. This is just my opinion on how it's gonna go, because I did try to play games when I was more of a beginner, and I just felt really discouraged. So if I can help one person with that, then this video has served its purpose. So yeah, you generally want to play games in the sentence mining stage, like right when you're trying to find when you can get the entire gist of a sentence, but there's like one, maybe two words that you don't understand. So I hope this video had some value if you watched to the end, and yeah, so enjoy the knowledge.